I'm Jeremy Cordo. Welcome to the Garage and the Court of Public Opinion. Pete's walking wounded, bad back. Gee, I'm sorry. I mean, anyone's had a bad back knows how awful that pain is.
Yes.
Gary, ever had a bad back?
Oh, indeed I have. I know exactly what his pain is.
It's shocking.
It's terrible.
It's the worst pain in the world.
It is,
If you're going to sort of rank pain, I suppose, if you really want to do that.
Yep.
I don't.
If I was a woman,
Yeah.
I'd say it's 9 out of 10, but I'm a man, so it's 11 out of 10.
Okay, good for you. I like that. I like that. Now, you mightn't know this. It's not one of those cheery things to sort of open a program with. You might not know this, but in the last 3 years, 29,000 companies have gone broke. 3,000 building companies in just the last 12 months. Now, add to these sad statistics Healthscope. Healthscope, who yesterday went into receivership. They run 37 hospitals and employ 19,000 people. Now, I wonder how Labor will spin this one, or any of them for that matter. The Mid North Coast of New South Wales. We're recording this program for Tuesday. It's posted on Facebook at 9 o'clock on Tuesday morning, but we're recording it on Monday afternoon. We've had the first really wet day here in Adelaide for quite some time. But gee whiz, Mid North Coast of New South Wales, Lismore down through Grafton, Tyree, all the way to Kempsey, Wauchope, Warrego, Woolgoolga. Woolgoolga's a fascinating place if ever you get there. Woolgoolga, Nimboida, Port Macquarie, Coracai, even down as far as Cobbitty, which is at the side door of Sydney. Terrible floods. You would have seen it. I don't know what we can do apart from sympathise. The floods are now starting to ease, but 50,000 people were isolated. Loss of stock, crops, fences, homesteads, equipment, and life. 5 people dead. Farmers with livestock and no way in the world to feed them. And down south, up until yesterday, drought. Floods up north, drought down south. This is an enormous amount of water that's up there. Why can't we in this day and age find a way to move that, pipe it, channel it, canal it, something, into Western Victoria and South Australia? Why waste it? We shouldn't. Control it. I'll bet in China they've found a way of doing it, or in Singapore. You know, people, we have to show initiative. On Sunday, a brazen display of gang violence at a Melbourne shopping centre. You would have probably heard about it. 10 kids, and I mean kids, 3 gangs, 10 kids, terrorised shoppers. This has led to a ban on machetes from midday tomorrow. Too little too late, if you ask me. These kids, some of them as young as 14, have no respect for law and order. You can ban something, what the hell? That's not going to mean anything to them. There are plenty of machetes already in circulation. It's the weapon of choice for most of the African gangs who started the fashion. People, and I'm thinking of Les 20 man in Melbourne in particular, he was talking about a ban on machetes 10 years ago. Anyway, the ban should be on the use or possession of machetes, not just the sale. I say this knowing that these kids will simply move to cane knives, and there is a difference between a cane knife and a machete. Cane knives, kitchen knives, bayonets, tire levers, baseball bats. My bet is that there'll be a machete black market that'll pop up almost immediately. You see, you can make something illegal, but you can't make it unpopular. By the way, speaking of such things, you might remember that the government did ban the sale of vapes. And you might also know that they are still widely available. Just saying. The great political break-up and make-up, what can you say? Look, it's only right and normal for the Libs and the Nats to have their differences. They are representing completely different constituencies. Issues are different, concerns are different in the bush to the city. Have your differences, indeed, but do it in private. The Liberals wanted a review of all the policies the coalition took to the election. Quite reasonable, however, also reasonable for the National Party to have some non-negotiable policies. Nuclear power, putting some national wealth into a rural future fund to provide better services for the bush, God knows they need them. A big stick to whack rogue supermarkets who stand over and bully farmers. And good telephone coverage in the bush. Now these things are important. Maybe not to the Libs, but to the Nats. For us to be in bed, review everything, but not these. That's reasonable. For us to be in coalition, these four policies are not negotiable. Fine. That's what I'd call a principled stand, and a sensible one. As for cabinet solidarity, which was another issue, I would find it difficult or even impossible to agree and vote for something I didn't believe in. Yet you can't be seen to be publicly squabbling. But cabinet solidarity it was not stated as a National Party non-negotiable. David Littleproud said he was quite happy to discuss and to compromise. I wouldn't. That's why I couldn't go into politics, which after all is the art or the business of compromise. And another thing, the media just love a public breakup like this. Why would you play into their grubby little hands, which, with great glee, they are rubbing together? The coalition will survive, I know. It's only common sense, and it should. But as I've said before, they should enlarge that coalition to include all the right and centre-right parties. There is strength in numbers. And if you don't do this, Labor's going to be there for the next 100 years, and that'll be the end of Australia. It's prophetic that the Liberals chose as their slogan for the election, "Get Australia back on track," when it is now they who have to get back on track. Let's hope their review into the election loss will be soon, short, and private, and that they don't throw the baby out with the bathwater and become Labor light. Hello, One Nation, if you do. Oh, by the way, it's Pauline's birthday today. Oh. Now, this is the first time I haven't turned off my phone, Pete.
Maybe it's Pauline.
Look, it could be. Anyway, happy birthday, Pauline. One good thing, I suppose, the whole mess threw up, if you'll pardon the expression, some wonderful cartoons. Did you see any of them? It's fabulously clever. Malicious, wicked, destructive, caustic, but very clever. Paul Erickson is Labor's secret weapon. You probably don't even know the name. The brains behind their campaign and therefore their election win. We learned a lot when Paul appeared at the National Press Club last Wednesday. He is big on internal polling, running a very disciplined campaign. Gee, I'd hate to cross that guy. Having candidates who can lie and keep repeating the lie over and over again and avoid answering any questions. A simple formula. Worked. And oh yes, they understand. In politics, disunity is death. It's politics 101, really. Anthony Albanese says that Labor is the natural party for Australia. This is the party that is owned by the corrupt CFMEU, among other unions. Some good, most not. You see, only 13% of Australians belong or choose to belong to a union. Most have voted with their feet. The problem is that we don't have a workers' party in Australia. We should have a workers' party, a party that honours, respects and rewards the worker. By the way, a story heard the other day. I do believe it is true. Any construction job involving the CFMEU costs 30% more than it should. And has the government done anything about that? Just asking. Just asking. Also interesting is this. Albo and his ministers have been sworn in. Albo, according to recent accounts, is a devout Catholic. Seriously religious. For some reason, at the swearing in, he wouldn't swear on the Bible, preferring an affirmation. Seems inconsistent. Anyway, sworn in are all 49 ministers. 49 ministers, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we have 27 million people and 49 ministers to manage things. Listen, the United States has a population of 340.1 million people. I looked it up. 340.1 million people, and they have 15 ministers, or as they call them, secretaries, you know, Secretary of State, Secretary of Defence, Secretary of Health, yeah. Oh, yes, can't forget that one. So what do you reckon? What do you reckon? Jobs for the boys? Over-servicing? Waste? And it's not just 49 cabinet ministers. It's all of the trappings, the perks, the staff, the advisors, the comcars, the travel. It makes absolutely no sense. Now that is something that the opposition should have a field day with. Unless they too are 49 snouts in waiting at the trough. We should watch that. I remember talking to Premier Mike Rann. He had just been elected, just won the election, came into the studio at the old 5DN, and for some reason, and I can't remember the details, but he had to be sworn in as minister for every portfolio. So he had, as the Premier, every single portfolio. And that was the way it was for several weeks. And he told me that things had never worked better or more smoothly. Now we should try that again, right? Remember the old Tom Playford days? Well, the Premier's Department, which is now, you know, thousands and thousands of people here in South Australia, used to consist of 3 people. And he actually did stuff. We're here with the best wishes of the Rising Sun, ladies and gentlemen, at 60 Bridge Street at Kensington. They're one of our sponsors. 8333 0721. Grant and Jackie will look after you if you want a romantic dinner for 2, or you want a celebratory kind of reception or a product launch. Doesn't really matter what it is. It's a venue for all seasons. The Rising Sun, with our lovely open fires at this time of the year, regularly chosen as the best pub or inn in South Australia. Built back in 1845. And Jim Elder Fine Art Gallery, our other sponsor in Melbourne Street, North Adelaide. Their big auction, just not last week but the week before, was a great success. If you're looking to sell a painting, they got some wonderful prices. If you're looking to sell a painting and you're not sure what that particular painting is worth, but you'd like to know, maybe you won't decide to sell it, but you'd like to know what it's worth, have a talk to Jim or Helen Elder on 08 8267 2869. They're inviting people to submit notable paintings for the second of their 4 big auctions for this year, 2025. According to the Salvation Army, sad statistic, 1 person in 20 is eating out of garbage bins. Think about that. 1 person in every 20 Australians is eating out of a garbage bin. More homeless, more poverty. And we're all talking the last 3 years. Wow, what happened 3 years ago? I do remember the Labor government got elected. Just joining the dots. But how disgraceful. How disgraceful it is for a country like Australia. In Victoria we saw something very similar to that which occurred federally. The totally incompetent Daniel Andrews Labor government got re-elected with an increased majority, and now they are contemplating, well, if you talk to the farmers in Victoria, they're contemplating uprising. But we'll watch it with interest, as they say. By the way, I remind you that the Salvos are having their Red Shield appeal at the moment, one of the truly great charities. It is Christianity with its sleeves rolled up. One of the few charities that I would endorse, believe me. I love that segment on 9 News the other night. It started off, here are the appliances that are costing you money. I sort of said quietly to myself, rubbish. Perhaps not so quietly. What does it mean when you start shouting at the television set?
You're angry.
Well, yeah, I suppose. Rubbish!
Frustrated.
They are looking at the effect instead of looking at the cause of the problem. Renewables. Are people ignorant, stupid or mindless? I don't know. But here's the problem. The renewables are there at any cost to reduce our emissions, which, as I've said to you often, are minuscule. There is no problem to fix. And I assume there is no journalist who will ask the simple question, sorry, Minister, what is the problem you're trying to fix with these renewables? Very strange. It is a working garage and a car just drove in. Adelaide welcomes back Cathay Pacific. Lots of international connections and travel. The airline, by the way, Cathay Pacific, was co-founded many years ago. It's a very old airline. Co-founded by an Australian. I don't know that that's widely known. Humphrey B. Bear is turning 60 this week. Wow. Wow, and he still doesn't have any pants on. And it's 50 years since the dismissal of the Whitlam government. And there's some other very interesting anniversaries, which we will get to in a little while. I was talking to you last week on the podcast, the Facebook posting, which you should get every Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock, about what I call the tipping point. Just going back to the farmers of Victoria, the point at which people just won't take it anymore. They will rise up, and we saw that in Melbourne last Tuesday. And the farmers, for whom I have great regard and sympathy, farmers are tough. They're like truck drivers. Truck drivers carry the nation and the farmers feed the nation. Remarkable people. Not only the salt of the earth, but unfortunately a great target for the Labor government in Victoria. You see, they want to introduce an emergency services levy there. Now, we've had one of those for years here in South Australia, since the mid-1980s, born out of the Ash Wednesday bushfires, when we realised that we had emergency services vehicle that were out of date, a communication system that didn't communicate, and the whole system had been allowed to deteriorate. The farmers in Victoria, just about all of them, quite amazing visually to see what they did, how they organised it. What was that thing, Pete? 10-4, we got a convoy. CJ McCall, was it? We got a convoy, 10-4.
10-4, rubber ducky.
Yeah, well, all of them are CFS volunteers, as well as being farmers. They go out and they fight the fires, they go out and they risk their lives, and now they're being asked to pay for the privilege. God, these people are naive. The government, I mean. And of course the farmers pay a lot more for their emergency services levy than suburban people. Well, they got on their fire trucks, which they have to, of course, maintain and look after and store. And in a huge convoy, they drove into Melbourne and parked them, threw the keys into the cabin, and just let Jacinta Allen, the Premier, know in no uncertain terms how they felt. The placards were wonderful, demonstrating their fury at a greedy, uncaring, selfish, out-of-touch Labor government. Don't mess with the farmers, Jacinta. That's what I mean about rising up. That's what I mean about a tipping point. Now, Rob Smith, who sends me stuff, sent me this. He said, Anthony Albanese has signed Australia up to a defence partnership, with Australia paying billions of dollars towards the European Defence Fund, which is called the EDF. Rob asks, will Australia be obliged to send troops to Ukraine? He says, this is nothing short of treason. Well, Rob, I don't know, but I will do my best to find out. I'll talk to Dr. John Bruni, who comes on and talks about these kind of things on our live streaming show on a Friday morning around the dining room table, jeremycordo.com, 0491 65 68 60. Rob, you should have called me last week. But anyway. But, you know, the same sort of thing, if we signed up to some sort of treaty under cover, it's the same sort of thing that Whitlam did with the Lima Declaration. You talk about treason? Really? Have a look at the Lima Declaration. Have a look at it. President Trump, how much time have we got, Pete?
Yeah, a couple of minutes, mate.
Okay. President Trump is going to apply a 100% tariff on films made outside the United States. Wow. Now, I understand where he's coming from, because he can see the film industry in America, particularly Hollywood, dying right in front of him. People will make their movies where there is not union control and a lower cost of labour. It's common sense. Hollywood, back when it made sense, was the Wild West. The days of Charlie Chaplin, Sam Goldwyn, David O. Selznick, all of the iconic movie makers. Today you can understand people saying, there's no way I'm going to make movies in Hollywood. Too damn expensive, too regulated. Now, it really doesn't matter, I don't think, to the audience where the movie is made. It doesn't affect the quality or its entertainment value. You can make a movie in the Philippines or, importantly, in Australia. Anywhere where you could be assured you'll make money for your effort. That's no longer the case in America. The high cost, high risk doesn't attract filmmakers anymore. Now, I understand where Trump is coming from, but he's looking at it far too simplistically. He should be attacking it from a different direction. He should be attacking the high cost of making the movies in America. It's like a lot of things that he's complaining about. Manufacturing offshore to make products because the labor is cheaper. Perfectly reasonable. If you can make stuff more cheaply elsewhere, why not? That's the problem he's got to cope with. Not just by jacking up the price of imported products using tariffs. He has to somehow get the cost of making a similar product in the United States down, lower. It's the same problem we have here in Australia. We didn't have it before '75 when Gough Whitlam signed up to that Lima Declaration I just mentioned, which devastated our industrial base, handing all our manufacturing off to third world countries. This is what global socialism is about. I don't want a bar of it. I know Trump doesn't want to have a bar of it. No one should want to have a bar of it. If he is a worker, if he's an intellectual and academic, or an inner city elite, well, maybe you might see it differently. It's hard to know how we can pull ourselves back from the damage that has been done by the sort of globalization that we've been witness to for a long time. But we're mad if we don't try. We are in competition, making movies or widgets with the rest of the world, and we have to be competitive. In competition with the rest of the world, it's simple. You see, there was a time in the early days of radio when serials were big. They were the big thing before television. Hundreds of Grace Gibson plays and serials, all made in Australia. No real local content rules. Of course, they were all made in Australia. We never thought about doing anything else. All Australian actors, producers and technicians. I don't think we ever had any imported radio stuff from America. Television comes along and everything was American. And Australian producers were trying to make product, television product, and they were, boy, up against it. It could be said that we were a dumping ground for a lot of American TV product. I didn't mind. I was a kid. I enjoyed all those westerns. And Perry Mason and Highway Patrol and Disneyland and Robert Taylor's Detectives and Zorro. Can you think of any?
Oh, lots.
Oh, yeah,
Ponderosa.
The Ponderosa, Bonanza. See, you know, they could afford to. We could never make that sort of stuff here for the sort of prices they were selling. See, that's where our culture started to be stolen, and the government stepped in with local content rules. Good idea. TV stations had to produce and show so many hours of local content to keep their license. Some of it was good, some of it was crap. But it employed a lot of Australians. And TV moguls were born. Hector and Dorothy Crawford, I remember. Reg Grundy. Oh, there were a lot of them. Brilliant people. We copied a lot of the American ideas, cop shows, the Tonight Show idea, the variety programs, game shows, shows of all kinds. We did employ a lot of people. I was one of them, and very grateful. Now everything seems to have given way to locally produced, endless, virtual reality. And I don't think it's all that even all that cheap to make, but it is total crap. Anyway, we've got to wrap it up there. I don't want to become. I don't want it to be a record. Getting close. Okay. Well, let me see if I've got.
How about James A. Michener's Adventures in Paradise?
James A. Michener's Adventure.
Adam Troy.
No, it wasn't Adam Troy. His name was Gardner.
Yeah, well, Adam Troy was the character.
Oh, was it?
Gardner was the actor. Or the actor.
No, Gardner was the actor.
Gardner, yes,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Yeah, that was a good
It
show.
was a fabulous show.
Yeah, I
I
know.
always wanted to go to Tahiti.
Wasn't it Hawaii?
Tahiti.
Oh, okay. All right.
No, it wasn't Hawaii. That was Hawaii 5-0.
Yes, well, that was good too.
77.
Sunset Strip. Yes, Bourbon Street Beat was another one.
Another one.
Warner Brothers churned these
Why?
penny dreadfuls out.
Why?
Tombstone Territory.
Gunsmoke.
Stop it.
The Cisco Kid.
Yeah, the Cisco Kid. Yes. Roy Rogers and
And
Dale Evans. Okay, May 27. Happy birthday. I'll get through a few of these.
Oh my God.
We lost our power, ladies and gentlemen. It just went off. But I've been saying for quite some time, because of the unreliable renewables, we are going to have to get used to blackouts and brownouts. And God knows how they're going to spin that, because we are going to be very angry. Well, I hope we will be very angry. Talking about tipping points. Should I go on with the... if the power goes off again, you will understand. Richard Drew, on this day in 1930, invents masking tape. Invents it and patents it. 1940, that was a year, British and Allied forces begin the evacuation of Dunkirk, Operation Dynamo, they called it, during World War II. And it was also the day that the German battleship Bismarck was sunk by the British Navy. The Bismarck started firing 15 miles away. That was a great... Did you see the movie?
I didn't, but that was
Sink the
Johnny
Bismarck.
Horton song,
It was a Johnny Horton song. Yeah. Yes, Sink the Bismarck. That was 1940 on this day. 1790, Jeremiah Colton, laziest man in history, heir to a large fortune at 19, went to bed and stayed there for the next 70 years. He dies at 89. The year was 1790.
There's a message there.
Yeah, you never leave your kids any money, because they'll go to bed or they'll go out on the town. Henry Kissinger, German-American diplomat, US Secretary of State, 73 to 77, winner of the Nobel Peace Prize in 73, born in Bavaria in Germany, dies in 2023, but born this day in 1923. A good life, well lived. British inventor Britt Akers patents the film camera projector. 1895 was the year. Habeas corpus. The Habeas Corpus Act, passed in England, strengthening a person's right to challenge unlawful arrest and imprisonment. 1670 was the year. This was the day. Vincent Price, I liked him. He used to come on my program regularly on 5DN. He's a great guest. Vincent Price, American actor, House on Haunted Hill. Oh, so many movies. Born in St. Louis, Missouri, died in 1993, but born this day, 1911. Australia votes in favour of giving Aboriginal people the benefit of being counted in the national census, which was perfectly reasonable. They were citizens of this country. We're all equal. That was 1967. Cilla Black. She died in 2015, but she was born this day in 1943. We have something in common. She compared blind date. I compared blind date. Going back a while. Angelina Jolie divorces Billy Bob Thornton. Why did you marry that bum? Why in God's name did you? Such a beautiful woman to marry that guy. Anyway, they divorced because of irreconcilable differences on this day in 2003. Ronald Reagan is shot by John Hinckley Jr., attempts suicide by overdosing on Tylenol pain relief, which is what I'd better get you for your back, I think. This day, 1981. Thank you so much for being with us, ladies and gentlemen, in the Court of Public Opinion in the garage. We've had visitors, we've had storms, we've had power failures, we've had the works. We'll see you on Friday, 9 till 12, around the dining room table, jeremycordo.com, 891. What's my phone number, Pete? 0491 0491 65 68 60. Love to have you on the show. In the meantime, believe in yourself, and thank you for viewing the Court of Public Opinion.